When I was a kid, my mom did these things called brainstorming sessions. So let's have a brainstorming session. This is meant to be interactive. Unfortunately, the comments section is the only way I can think to do that for the time being until I get Zoom sessions going or something like that. So we'll start with the problem and then we'll get to the question. But before we get to the problem, let's go over a couple of quotes. This first one is from Ben Franklin, allegedly. Our new Constitution is now established. Everything seems to promise it will be durable, but in this world nothing is certain except death and taxes. Here's a Winston Churchill quote from a speech he gave to the House of Commons in 1947. It has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except all the other forms. But there is the broad feeling in our country that the people should rule, and that public opinion expressed by all constitutional means should shape, guide, and control the actions of the ministers who are their servants and not their masters. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you should be well aware that the U.S. federal government is plagued with problems. For example, many of our clandestine agencies seem to start wars and focus billions of dollars on ending them. Unintentionally or intentionally, we don't know. And Congress votes on their own salary. And we pay large sums in taxes, and the government says, screw you, figure out your own healthcare thing. But our representatives vote to give themselves the best health coverage in the country. Even the people who work in the government are frustrated by the government. But the lobbyists all but bribe the government to make policies which benefit them. Also, our representatives can insider trade. They can buy stock in a company, then vote on a proposal to give funds to that company. Additionally, they pass bills seemingly overnight that are, for example, 1,800 pages, so no one has time to read whatever they're voting on, and consistently buried in the legislation that's passed by representatives are things that almost no one wants. I think in the COVID relief bill, for example, there's something like an arrangement to give Pakistan $200 million or something like that. I forget the amount. For right or wrong, I don't know. Additionally, you have to have lots of money to lobby regularly, and it costs a lot of money to run a campaign for office. So in our country, it seems that whoever has the most money makes the rules. Then there's the fact that our system of government was made before phones, cars, telegrams, and the internet. So at one time, we had to have a person who represented our wishes take our vote to the place where the voting was done, because it would have been impossible for everyone to stop work, get on their horse, and take a 3-week journey to Philadelphia or wherever to vote on something every week. But now we really don't actually need someone to vote for us. We could all literally vote on every issue securely on our computers through some encryption technology like blockchain or something like that. I'm not promoting anything. Some objections to that are things like, well, it could be meddled with if it's connected to a computer. But literally every election, people allege meddling with our analog voting system because there's a person or a group that's trusted with the custody of the votes. So I guess people think they can throw them in the trash or overlook thousands of votes, or people can vote twice. Now, I don't actually know how much of either of those things really happen. I'm just stating other people's concerns. But having it done on an open source digital platform could ensure that there's one vote for one person, one social security number, one vote, something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a social security number. It could be a biometric screening system or something. I don't know. But it could be done digitally with less funny business than the current way. That seems certain. But another objection to doing it digitally is that not everyone has access to the internet. But the truth is, more voters have access to the internet than voting booths. Of all people eligible to vote, I'm 100% certain that a larger percentage of them would get out their computer or phone to vote than would drive or get a ride or a bus to a voting booth and wait in line. Plus, all of the voters living abroad would be many times more likely to vote digitally rather than through some mail-in ballot system, which few people try and figure out. Plus, for the very small amount of people hell-bent on voting who don't have access to the internet at home or through a friend or at a library, they can still go to a polling place and vote. Voting places can have a computer for them to sit down and vote on, or if they really prefer, they can do it with a pencil and paper at a voting booth. And some people say, well, the polling places can't handle a new process like that. Well, keep in mind they'd be receiving probably about 1/1000th the amount of people, so they could definitely manage. But regardless of what the solution is, let's just imagine that we come up with a perfect way to have a straight democracy where everyone has an opportunity to vote on everything they find important, and it's untamperable. Well, then the problem is that just because a majority of people believe it doesn't mean that it's correct, right? Go to one country and the majority of people profess to be Muslims. Go to another country, the majority of people profess to be Catholic. There's no right or wrong necessarily in each one. I'm just saying the majority isn't the consensus for correct. And we've all seen those old Western films in which a lynch mob is formed with the intent of unjustly hanging the star of the film because they've been misled to believe that he or she did something wrong. Bonanza was one of my favorite shows to watch reruns of when I was a kid. And this type of scene played out 1,000 times if it ever happened once. But either way, you get what I'm saying. The majority isn't always right. I don't think there's much controversy about that. If there is, there shouldn't be any controversy about whether or not the majority is the most well-informed, because they're certainly not the most well-informed. Everybody can't know about everything. That's just the truth of the matter. And so to help with this, we have special committees for our representatives. But here's the catch. The committee seats are purchased by companies for the representatives. Like, they literally sell seats on committees for ungodly amounts of money. So again, imagine if we do have a true straight democracy where everyone gets a vote, everyone gets a voice on every topic all the time, if they so desire. Well, then it still seems the case that whoever spends the most resources on steering public opinion through whatever YouTube ads, Facebook ads, troll farms, etc., they can still manipulate the vote with money. So again, whoever has the most money makes the rules, even in a perfect democratic system. Now we've presented the problem. So here's today's question for the good of the group. How do we make it better? So brainstorm on that. Let me know what you think. As always, I leave you with the following comments. Take on the role of the learner. Let's share our ideas with each other and use a combination of the best ideas. Question things, especially your own ideas. Certainty is an absurdity. Learn, grow, improve. Rinse, repeat. Learn, grow, improve. Learn, grow, improve. All right, toodaloo.